Yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Built in Buffalo Tailgate Live. I am your host, ARich Richens, and if you don't know me by now, please get to know me, get to know us. This is Built in Buffalo. I got my main man, James Stokes, in the building. First and foremost, James, how are you doing? How are you feeling today?
Feeling great on this Sunday evening. It's a very nice evening right now.
Yes, it is a very delightful evening. And before we get into why everything is so delightful, if you're watching on Facebook, give this a like, give this a share. If you're watching on X or Twitter, please give this a repost. And if you're watching on YouTube, if you haven't subscribed to the Built in Buffalo YouTube channel, please do so. We deeply appreciate it. Stokes, the reason why we're so delighted is because of the results of the earlier game between the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars, where the Titans defeated the Jags by the score of 28-20, ultimately clinching the Buffalo Bills playoff berth. Did you watch that game, and what was your thoughts about that game as you was watching it, if you watched it?
So I didn't watch a great deal of it,
Mhm.
but I was keeping an eye on it, and I saw that I kept track of the way Derrick Henry was playing. He was playing very well, and
Mhm.
I was thrilled with how well he was playing, because we needed it for him, and it was a great way for him to go out. And I knew going into it that Vrabel, he would go after this game just because that's just how he's built. So I
Mhm.
was happy with the way that went. So it was a really good game to keep track of and see that they were winning for basically the entirety of the game, and they kept control, and um, it was great to see that they pulled it out for us because we needed it.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And I have to shout out the Tennessee Titans and that organization. First of all, I think Mike Vrabel is a solid head coach in this NFL. He had his guys playing hard, playing physical, and playing as if they had something to play for. And as a Buffalo Bills fan, in this moment, I really appreciated that performance from the Titans. It was a great victory by them. Terrible way to end the season for the Jacksonville Jaguars, losing five out the last six, but it was definitely beneficial to our Buffalo Bills. And now we have clinched our ticket for to going into the playoffs for the fifth year in a row, if I'm not mistaken. The Buffalo Bills are now a team known that's making the playoffs every year. And if you are a younger person and a part of that younger fan base, you haven't been through the struggles of 17 years and been through the struggles of the Buffalo Bills not being as good as they are now. So if you are witnessing this and a young fan witnessing this, celebrate this moment. The Buffalo Bills are one of the better run organizations in the NFL, and they prove it yet again by making the playoffs.
Yeah, it's when in the middle of the season, in those levels when a lot of us were talking about whether McDermott was the guy for the job and
Mhm.
all this. I mean, and at that point, all that conversation was valid because of the way the Bills had been playing, the way it seemed like they just the mistakes that were happening weren't necessarily player related. It was more so, or it seemed
Mhm.
like it was more coaching, like things that the coaching staff could be doing
Mhm.
to make this team better. And that's what we looked at and what we thought of when we were talking about maybe they needed to hear a new voice and things of that nature. But I couldn't be more happy with how they responded with in through the adversity that they've dealt with, whether it's on the field or off. They've really showed the rest of the world like this is actually a really good team, and they're going to be a problem in the playoffs.
Yes, and I think that last statement is indeed true. The Buffalo Bills are indeed going to be a problem in the playoffs. I believe they're one of the scarier teams that's in this playoffs, representing the AFC. So I really like the statements there. I want to ask you, because the Buffalo Bills made the playoffs, right? and we was going through some turmoil in the beginning of the season. It was a lot of things that were said by reporters. The people started bringing up Stephon Diggs and how he was acting in the beginning of the season. And the Buffalo Bills, they seem to be reeling a bit. So now that they've made the playoffs, um, how do you feel that they are stacked up against the rest of the AFC? Number one. And number two, are you ready to take that interim tag off of Joe Brady because the Buffalo Bills made the playoffs?
How do I feel? So I'll answer the first one first. How do I feel they stack up with the rest of the AFC? I feel like aside from the Ravens, I feel like I would go into the game against anyone and say, okay, the Bills are the better team. The Ravens, I think they are a really well run organization, and they have a dynamic player in Lamar Jackson at the helm, and he's a guy that can make anyone look like a fool. And every single play when he's touching the ball, you have to account for him and everyone else. So he is one of the best players in the NFL. He's probably going to win the MVP this season. So the Ravens defense is really good. So I mean, I'd be worried if it were the Ravens, but at the same time, whether the Bills are the 2 seed or whatever seed they could end up at, I'm confident against anyone aside from the Ravens. And even if they were playing the Ravens in Baltimore, I'd still probably take the Bills to win that game.
I like it. So you're comfortable with the Buffalo Bills playing anybody anywhere, or how do you feel about that? How comfortable are you about the Bills?
Yes, I am comfortable with the Bills playing any team anywhere. It could be in Baltimore. I'd still think they're going to win that game. They can go to Kansas City. They can go wherever they need to go. They can go back to Miami if it ended up that way, and I would be comfortable with the Bills winning that game because I just think that they're that good. They've been playing that well, and I think that as the season continues to wear on, they're going to get better and better and better. And I'm thrilled. I'm very, very excited for the way this season is going to hopefully end for us.
I like it. Part B of that question: Joe Brady. The Buffalo Bills were 6-6. They was reeling 17% chance of making the playoffs. Joe Brady comes in, and now all of a sudden they're 10-6. They won 5 out the 6 games. Joe Brady has been the offensive coordinator. Are you ready to take off that interim tag?
I would say it wouldn't do the organization its best justice to not at least see what else is out there. I love the way Joe Brady has called games, but there has been times where they just look a little bit weird as far as the passing game goes. I love that he has a commitment to the running game. I love that he's getting James Cook and everyone else involved. But like when it comes to passing the ball, I don't know what is going on with the pass game itself. But maybe the difference is in the offseason, if he has the entire offseason to put together what his passing game will be, that could be the difference between a more cohesive passing game. But I would say that if it were like odds, I would say heavily in his favor to be the offensive coordinator, but at least like give an opportunity to speak to other people about that job.
I seen that the Dallas Cowboys have reports about Mike McCarthy and his job status. And the reports are dependent on how far the Cowboys go will be dependent on the security of Mike McCarthy's job. That's how I feel about Joe Brady being the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. How far are we going to go? How are we going to look as an offense depending on how far we go or if we lose a game? I want to see how Joe Brady is going to continue to perform as the offensive coordinator. This is his time to show that he knows how to adjust to adjustments. He's had that success, that initial success coming to the Buffalo Bills. We had explosive plays. We got back to scoring north of 30 points per game. But I think once film came on him, defensive coordinators and players made the necessary adjustments to make him struggle a little bit and make us feel as ease in terms of what we're watching as fans. Like you just alluded to, things look a little weird on offense sometimes, right? With the Buffalo Bills and Joe Brady. It almost felt like Ken Dorsey was back calling plays for the Buffalo Bills when we seen those struggles. So I definitely want to see more from Joe Brady, and I think it starts tonight. I think depending on how the offensive look from now to the end of our season, whenever that is when we can make that final assessment in terms of are we going to keep or let go or see if we're going to entertain outside the organization for an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Like if the Bills go to the Super Bowl, and it's a really good, it's a real well played game. The offense looks great. Then yeah, I could see that for sure. Him having the opportunity, or he'll be the interim. But like if the Bills go out in round one and they've scored 3 points and they just get outclassed, yeah, I could see them. Okay, well, yeah, Joe Brady may not be the answer because we've gotten to this point and this is not it. So. Yeah, I think you're right. Just along with Mike McCarthy, it depends on how the season ends and what their responsibility is as far as that goes. So yeah, I could definitely see that dependent upon how the result is.
So big game tonight. Obviously, don't matter the what happened earlier. The Buffalo Bills still have an opportunity to win the division and obviously importance to play for. What is your initial thoughts on this matchup between the Bills and the Dolphins?
I always felt that the Bills were going to win this game. I think that now that they don't have the same level of anxiety as far as the result, I can see them being in the position where they are not exactly as locked in at the beginning of the game, just because it'll feel different, it'll look different if they're like now that okay, we know we're in the playoffs. I feel like it's possible that they are going to be more likely to have a beginning of the game, a couple 3 and outs, a little bit nervous, not a little nervous, but a little bit less anxious about winning the game. But I think that they will still lock in by the time the second quarter gets on, and then they're going to run away with it, I think.
Nice. Think they're going to run away with it. I think definitely a sigh of relief. The earlier thoughts. I think, like we spoke about before the show. It's a sense of relaxed urgency, in my opinion, for the Bills. They know that there's a lot of things still in front of them to play for. Number 2 seed, the division, home game or home games in the playoffs, which is huge. But knowing that they already punched their ticket to the playoffs, I believe it eases some of that tension off the Bills. And I think they're going to go out, and play more of a relaxed style football. We might be in disagreements here. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to come out and score touchdown. First drive of the game. We'll see what happens there. But I just think that being that the tension and the pressure of win or go home is no longer in sight. I believe the Buffalo Bills can play relaxed style football, but at the same time with urgency and ultimately win this game. Run away with it? I'm not sure. I think the Miami Dolphins at home, I think they're going to have some pride where they've been hearing the noise about them losing to the Bills, the amount of times they lost to the Bills. So I think they're going to have something that they want to play for, and they want to play for the division as well. So I think it's going to be a closer game, but I do think the Bills will be victorious at the end of the day. I know I kind of did a prediction before the prediction, but that's my initial thoughts on the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be. I do think it'll be a close game as well. I don't think if anyone is going into this thinking 48-20 again or something even close to that, I would be really shocked. But by runaway, I do think it'll be like a touchdown or maybe a little bit more than that. That's where I would see it if I had to, because I still think that when it comes to Tua, when it comes to the way this offense runs, it seems like the Bills have an understanding on how to make it a little bit disjointed, a little bit get to thinking a little bit too much. So that's why I feel like the Bills are going to win this game in a manner that I say.
Now, I know that this game is important, and I know that it's obviously huge for both teams. But I have to pose this question. Don't kill me in the comments. I spoke about it earlier. I seen T.J. Watt sprain his knee last night. I seen Sam Laporta go down today with a knee injury. AJ Brown got hurt today. With the Buffalo Bills clinching the playoffs, is there any thought to sit guys whatsoever, especially some of the bigger names that got hurt today? Did that ever cross your mind, being that the Buffalo Bills punched their ticket to the playoffs? Or you're like, you know what? It's a laser focus. We got our business to take care of, and it starts with Miami, and we got to play all our guys to get it done.
I think going into this week, the thought process from the coaching staff was probably, "Hey guys, if we don't win this game, we're going to miss the playoffs." That is the mindset in our head, and it's going to be difficult for them to just say, "Okay, well, never mind, we're going to turn that off." So I wouldn't want to sit anybody, just because like, if the Bills win the game, then they have the opportunity to have potentially 2 home games in the playoffs. And I think that they'd prefer that rather than going on the road, no matter where it is. Like being at home with the home fans is going to be a little bit different than when you're playing on the road potentially 3 times. Whereas you can have 2 home games and then maybe a third if the Ravens slip up. So that's where I would lean towards. Hey, we want to go out. We want to go out. We want to give the fans a show because they get the opportunity to come see us twice, potentially, maybe 3 times.
Yes. You know what? I like it. Excellent answer. ARich Richens, James Stokes, Built in Buffalo Tailgate live pregame show. Let's move right along. Right. The Buffalo Bills came out with their inactives today, not too long ago, but I noticed a couple of guys weren't on that list, and that was Von Miller and Leonard Fournette. Both will be active tonight. What's your thoughts on both of these guys on both sides of the ball being active?
Well, I mean, I like the thought of Leonard Fournette being active because I feel like he's a better version of Latavius Murray. I think he looks like he has a bit more juice, and I feel like he's a more solid pass catcher. So I always had an affinity for Leonard Fournette when he was on the Bucks and everything and even on the Jaguars. So I think you can also see what you have in a player like him as well. So we know. I feel like we have a good idea of what we have in Latavius Murray, and we don't know exactly how Fournette fits in this offense. He's had I think a month and a half or whatever to get used to whatever his responsibilities are as a running back. So giving him the chance to play, I think, is a good idea.
Yeah, I think so as well. In terms of Leonard Fournette, Latavius Murray, he gave us that juice that we needed in the beginning of the season. And I don't know if it's old age or the miles past his prime, but for whatever reason, we haven't seen the same Latavius Murray as of late. We've seen earlier this season. So I think to put in Leonard Floyd in this role where his legs may be fresher, and for this playoff run for the Buffalo Bills, it's necessary in my opinion. And I want to see how he does within the offense. I want to see him run between the tackles a little bit, compliment James Cook, catch the ball out the backfield, pass block. I want to see his entire game in terms of who is going to be that third guy come playoff time. Leonard Floyd or Fournette or Latavius Murray. As far as Von Miller, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. He's kind of the wild card with me. I know he's a big play guy in terms of what we're accustomed to seeing when he's healthy. I know the contract is gigantic for the Buffalo Bills, but I'm not sure if the production is matching right now. And maybe the last game of the season, he can definitely give us a spark and give us some confidence heading into the off season. But that's a wait and see for me in terms of Von Miller being active. Your thoughts on Miller?
I mean, I feel like I've been waiting all season to see something from Von Miller, and every opportunity he has to get out there, I mean, I'm thrilled with. I just want to see it one time, that Von Miller bend where he gets
Mm.
when he gets under the tackle, when he's trying to do a punch. I just want to see it one time to like, okay, well, that's what we're going to see in the playoffs. That's the Von Miller that we're hoping to see, but we signed up for. And I mean, any opportunity that he has to get out there and do that, I'd love to see it, because I feel like, if he is as confident as we want him to be, I feel like he'd be a better pass rusher than Groot. Maybe not better than what Leonard Floyd is playing right now. But if a pass rush situation has Ed Oliver, Groot inside, Leonard Floyd and Von Miller on the outside, I think teams will have a lot of problems if we have the Von Miller that we saw at times last year. But the Von Miller we have right now, that's just, he's not the guy right now. Maybe he needs to be out there and do something good to get that confidence back.
Right. And, again, I don't want to be, too hard on Von Miller, in terms of wanting that production. But at the same time, it's hard to ignore when you have the money that you have uh, tied to the salary cap, and we need that production sooner rather than later. But he is coming from a major injury. I always did feel that next year we would see a better version of Von Miller. What version? How close to his old self at his advanced age? I'm not sure. We'll see. But I always felt that next year we'll see a better version of Von Miller. But hopefully we can get bits and pieces starting tonight.
Yeah, yeah, that is definitely the hope here. Like, I just want to see him do something productive. Like, he's only got a few tackles this season, and maybe that's just a product of what offenses are doing when he's on the field, or something along that lines. But I just want to see him do something that's productive, and I think it'll happen this week. But we'll see.
Um, let's flip the script a little bit. Let's go to the offensive side of the ball. Let's talk about our favorite guy, Josh Allen. What are some expectations for Josh Allen tonight? What do you want to see that you haven't seen, or what do you want to see within his game that we haven't seen in the last couple of weeks from Josh Allen? What's your expectations?
Uh, I I think that, oh man, I don't know, because I feel like we've seen Josh do everything that we wanted him to over the course of these last few weeks. Like, we had times to, hey, Josh, we need this drive, we need this, we need that. He's come through. There was a time when we are like, hey, Josh, maybe you don't need to be the guy to win this game. Okay, well, we're gonna have James Cook win this game.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I want the Bills to unleash him running the ball a little bit. I don't feel like it's been like fully done yet, and maybe they're saving that for the playoffs, or maybe that's not even in Joe Brady's mindset. Maybe it is. Maybe this is the game where they're gonna feel like, hey, we're gonna dice him up this game. Or but what I want to see most out of Josh Allen, or my expectation, is that he is not going to go crazy. That, like, I feel like
Sugar High Josh.
yes,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, that's not the one. I just don't want him to go out there and be like, okay, well, we've got to win this game by 1,000,000 points, and I have to be the one to do that. And I feel like, over the last few weeks he has adhered to that. It's just a matter of whether he can continue to adhere to that.
So Josh Allen started off the season, first 9 games, with a 62% completion percentage or above. The four out the last 5 games, he's failed to complete at least 57% of his passes. Now, I'm not a huge completion percentage guy, but at the same time, I do think it shows the cohesiveness or lack thereof between quarterback and and his receivers. So me personally, I want to see Josh Allen throw the ball around a little bit, get that cohesion back, between him and Stephon Diggs, and throw the ball around a little bit, and be the Josh Allen we've accustomed to seeing in previous years. Um, uh, 4 straight games, he's failed to throw for multiple touchdowns. Now I know he's had multiple touchdowns in games, but throwing multiple touchdowns, I think that's something I want to see as well from Josh Allen. I want to see him get the ball to Stephon Diggs for a touchdown, get the ball to Shakir or Dalton Kincaid for a touchdown. I think 27 touchdowns is a good number. I would love to see him get to 30 tonight. So, a couple of things I would like to see from Josh Allen. I know expectations in terms of MVP is still wandering around there somewhere. We hoping he can have this big huge game where he can have 5 touchdowns and insert himself back in this discussion. But I just want to see Josh Allen be Josh Allen and be smart with the football. I think last week against the New England Patriots, throwing that pick in double coverage, that's something that we've been seeing on multiple occasions throughout the season. It's time to cut certain things like that out. We want to see Josh Allen protect himself and the football. I think he laid it out a little bit and hit the back of his head. He got kneed in the back of his head, and I was worried about the safety of Josh Allen in terms of putting himself in harm's way. He got nicked up with his shoulder, so I just want to see Josh Allen take care of the football and himself while he dominates this Miami Dolphins front. That's pretty banged up. Missing both defensive ends. Bradley Chubb went out late last game against the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not even sure why he was in the game at that time. I know Javon Holland and a number of guys on that Miami Dolphins defense is battling injury. So I think this is the time, this is the game where Josh Allen can take that step forward and progress with the duo of him and Stephon Diggs in terms of getting back on the right page so we can get to the playoffs and be dangerous with our number one receiver and our quarterback duo once again.
Yeah. So anyone whose their hope is that Josh is not going to have a turnover, like that's not the player that he is. Like they're
Right.
going to be 3 or 4 throws in every single game where he's like, yeah, they've got a chance at that one. And
Right.
that mentality that he has is part of what makes him one of the best players in the NFL, because like he's going to attempt to make that throw that maybe 3 people in the entire world can make, and sometimes it's going to work, sometimes it's not, but he's going to try and give his team the best opportunity to do something like that. So anyone with an expectation, hey, Josh is going to throw, he's not going to throw anything that's going to be interceptable. That's not going to happen.
Right.
Or he's not going to be wild with the football. That's not going to happen. Sometimes he's going to try and jump over somebody. Sometimes he's going to try to run over a guy he doesn't necessarily need to run over. But that's the same thing that'll make you laugh and make you cry. So that's how we have to accept that is just part of what he does, and embrace it, because like he's amazing. And it sucks when he has 3 turnover games, but when you see those 4 touchdown games and he's looking incredible, then we love the same thing. So anyone expecting something like that to not happen in his game, that I think they'd be kidding themselves. But it's just a matter of how he's able to limit those opportunities for the other squad.
I like it. I like it a lot. ARich, Akeem Richards, James Stokes, Built in Buffalo Tailgate Live. James, keys to the game, offense. Give me one key that you got for the offensive side of the ball.
For the offense, okay. Getting the ball out on time. So whether like when you're passing the ball, just getting the ball out like on the first or second read. So not having to wait. So no matter who it is, whether it's pass rushers that are good, whether it's Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips, or it's Adam Van Ginkel and whoever's on the other side, if you give them enough time, those tackles can't hold on forever or they will just hold.
Mm.
So no matter who it is, we just can't be in a position where it's all playground football. It's got to work work cohesively, as you mentioned. Like, hey,
Mhm.
I've got my first or second read. Boom, boom is
Mhm.
going here. Boom is going there. It's going there. It's going there. And that's what I need to see. That's one of the keys is making sure the passing game looks solid.
And yeah, I agree with that last sentiment right there. And I'm gonna go further with that. Passing game looks solid. Stephon Diggs has 126 yards receiving in the last 4 games. Nico Collins had 195 yards receiving last night. So Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen. I'm gonna keep saying it until we see it. Stephon Diggs, baby. Let's get our number one receiver back involved within the offense. Let's make him the focal point. Uh, Joe Brady spoke about getting Stephon Diggs more involved. Let's see if he can actually do it beyond that. I wouldn't be surprised to see a screen pass first play of the game to Stephon Diggs. That's what I see his version of getting Stephon Diggs involved in the game is. I need to see him compound on that tonight against the Dolphins. So get your number one guy, Stephon Diggs, the ball.
Yeah, and it seems like they try to do that, whether it's with a short passing game or they try to run the ball with him. Like they try to get him involved, but it seems like outside of like the actual times where they're trying to short passes and things like that, he doesn't seem to either be getting it or Josh is not believing what he's seeing,
Mhm.
because as far as what I understand, he's still the same route runner. He's still getting open as frequently as he had been. It's just that for whatever reason, Josh isn't getting it to him as much.
Mhm.
And I don't know what that means on the back end. Whether it's something offensively philosophy wise, but
Mhm.
I do tend to agree that we're not going to get as far as we want to get if Stephon Diggs is not the number one alpha. I can't see
Right.
the Bills winning the bowl if
Right.
Stephon Diggs has a playoff run with 124 yards total. That's not going to get it. So Stephon Diggs has to be playing well in order for this team to get where they want to get.
I like it, and I agree 100%. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball, and I'm gonna go ahead and start this one. Right, keys to the game on defense. Um, make the tackle. Make the tackle. Try to limit open space and yak yardage opportunities for the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are third in the NFL, averaging 12 yards after the catch, trailing only the San Francisco 49ers and the Houston Texans. I think that is what makes Tua and that offense dangerous and explosive. And I know that they're missing a couple of key cogs to make that even more dangerous than Jalen Waddle and Raheem Mostert, but they're still capable with guys like obvious Tyreek Hill. They have the kid from Texas A&M who's very fast and Devon A-Chain. They have Barrios and CJ Wilson and Jeff Wilson, guys that if you miss the initial tackle, they have the speed to take it to the house. And one thing the Buffalo Bills do lack on that back end defensively is speed. So make the tackle, make that initial tackle, get the ball carrier to the ground.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. 100%. Yes.
Mhm.
When you have a player like Tyreek Hill, like all it takes is for one guy to miss him. And like he is both super quick and super fast. So if you miss him, then the next guy has to potentially over pursue, and then he's out of position. And when you have a thing like that, then he may go to the house. And as you mentioned, A-Chan, like they have a bunch of speed.
Mhm.
If this was Madden, like hey, everyone's got a like 95 speed, 98 speed, all
Mhm.
that type of stuff.
I would hate to play
Um,
the Dolphins in Madden, by the way.
yeah, absolutely. Especially with the Bills. Like
Mhm.
on Madden, it is
Mhm.
not a good matchup. There's a bunch
Right.
of speed against a bunch of guys that aren't as fast. So but fortunately, this is not Madden, and the Bills and the way they play, they can potentially slow them down like they did after the first couple drives in week 4. I hope they don't go into this thinking that this is going to be the same type of thing. They have to do something different because, of course, the Dolphins are going to be different. But like I said, making that tackle, my key for this game would be to stay in the middle of the field and force Tua to throw the ball outside. I feel like that's what a lot of teams try to do, and sometimes they fail. But if you can stay in those small passing windows down the middle of the field, forced to have to throw outside. I know he doesn't have a terrible arm, but it's not super strong, and most quarterbacks are more accurate when they're throwing between the numbers as more so than they're outside the numbers. So if you keep them throwing outside, and Terrell Bernard and everybody is in those windows to get them off this first read potentially, then I think we're in a good position. So that would be the thing that I would want. That be the biggest key for me.
Yes, I like it, and I got one more. Why not? Miami Dolphins offensive line is banged up. Their team is banged up, but their offensive line is banged up as well. Buffalo Bills are 3rd in the NFL, tied with the Miami Dolphins with 53 sacks. Pressure Tua. Get to Tua, pressure Tua, make him hold on to the football longer than he wants to. I think when he does that, when teams do that defensively, they find success. And that's something I would love to see from the Buffalo Bills. Take away that first read, make him hold on to the ball a little bit longer, make him go through his progressions, and hopefully get to and take down Tua. If we can do that, kind of speed up his mental clock, I think the Buffalo Bills defense will have success in tonight's ball game.
And that's one of the things that you see in the games that they've lost. Like you see Tua drop back, and then he's hitching, and then he gets a little bit nervous, and then he starts to scramble a little bit, and he's not an adept scrambler. So like when he starts to scramble, everything else gets bad unless Tyreek sees what's going on and he goes deep or he gets open. But in a general sense, like once Tua is off that first read, once he has to hitch it twice, the offense doesn't look as good. So like if we can get three or four hitches each time he's passing the ball, and that's not going to happen every time. Like we can't expect that we're going to completely shut down this offense because it's really good, and Mike McDaniel is a good play caller. So
yes,
they're going to get offense going. It's just a matter of holding them, keeping them from getting those chunk plays where they're just gashing our team. So I definitely agree with you. And I think that the Bills defense has shown the propensity to slow down most offenses over the last couple months, and I think this will be another one of those situations.
I like it. ARich, Hakeem Richards, once again, James Stokes, Built in Buffalo Tailgate Live. We appreciate everybody that's watching the channel, watching this show, and tuning in at the moment. Let's get into our last segment of the day, right? And that is predictions. James Stokes. Final thoughts, final predictions. Who do you think is ultimately going to win this game?
Well, in making predictions all season long, I haven't picked the Bills to lose one game. So in my head, the Bills are 16-0, going on 17-0.
Realistically, we had a chance to win every game this season. Realistically, though.
Yeah. So the only game that the Bills that I think in Washington, I didn't think that they were going to win. It was the Bengals game. Every other game, I felt like the Bills. They had opportunities to win that game, and for whatever reason, it didn't go their way. So the Bills have been in every game. So I think they're going to win this one, and I think the final score is going to be 27-20. That's they're gonna get 20 again, but the Bills are gonna get 27. I think they'll cover the spread is 3, but 27-20 is my prediction.
I like it. 31-27, Buffalo over Miami. I think it's going to be a pretty good game. I think the Buffalo Bills started the NFL season against the Jets, and now the Buffalo Bills end the NFL season against the Miami Dolphins. And I think we're going to go out in impressive fashion. 31-27, 27 Bills over the Dolphins.
Okay,
Hey,
I can support that. I don't want this the regular season to end how the regular season started. So that's fine with me.
right. And one last question before I get out of here. This is a non-Bills related question, by the way. But I have these two players, and I think they're both fascinating players, and I want to get your opinion on who you would take right now. And everybody in the comment section right now, who you would take at quarterback, CJ Stroud or Jordan Love?
Okay.
I know, out of nowhere. I know.
So I think it is a tougher thing. So coming into it, like my initial thought is CJ Stroud, because CJ Stroud hasn't even had the opportunity to really get down with how the NFL play callers are calling plays and how defenses adjust and things of that nature. Jordan Love has had multiple seasons in which to watch an actual artist be quarterback, and having that opportunity to learn from a guy like Aaron Rodgers, like whether he's actually helping or not, you can still watch those traits. You can watch the work ethic. You can maybe get an answer here and there, but in the end, you're still in the presence of an artist, and whether he's helping you purposely or not, you're still seeing it. And CJ Stroud hasn't had that. He's still been really good. So I think that I would take CJ Stroud, because I think that he still has levels to go. And Jordan Love, he's been good. I'm not gonna discredit any of that. He's been good, and he has a good play caller calling plays for him. So he's going to be good. But I think that I would take CJ Stroud, just because whenever he played against some of the best defenses in college, he's played against pretty good defenses in the NFL, and he's shredded them all. And so I would trust CJ Stroud is going to be more a better player over the course of his career.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of CJ Stroud. So it was one throw he made to Nico Collins. It was ridiculous. So it was Josh Allen-esque, if you ask me, man. I'm really impressed with CJ Stroud. But Jordan Love is no slouch, man. I'm watching this kid's play, and he's no slouch. I really like his game a lot, and having LaFleur over there and having to sit down and develop behind Aaron Rodgers, I think really helped his game. And you're right, CJ Stroud, he didn't have that. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have a Hall of Fame quarterback where he got to watch. He got to play right away and showed his worth right away. So CJ Stroud, is an impressive young quarterback, but I do like both quarterbacks, and I think they both have a bright future in this NFL.
Yeah, we are in a really good age of quarterbacks, and as long as they stay healthy, like it seems like quarterback play, like the guys that are actually doing the throwing of the football, like the starters there, they all look really, really good, and it's just exciting to think about, what's to come. And also the most exciting part is the Bills have one of the best on their team, and that's not going to change.
Not going to change for at least another decade.
That's right.
Knock on plastic table. But yeah, ARich, man, Akeem Richards, James Stokes. This was a fun one, James. This was a fun one. We get to go and now watch our team, the Buffalo Bills, try to hoist yet another AFC East championship trophy. And I'm excited, and I think the Buffalo Bills are going to get it done. So is there anything else you want to say before we go?
No, this is the biggest Go Bills of the season. Go Bills.
Yes, baby. Go Bills. ARich, Akeem Richards, James Stokes. I'll be in to check back later. Built in Buffalo post-game live, the Red Zone Report post-game show. Myself and Izzy will be breaking down the game, and hopefully we'll be discussing us as the AFC East champs. From Built in Buffalo, ARich, James Stokes. Till next time.